You know what doesn't get talked about enough? People selling their plasma so they could come up with money to pay bills, to buy food, to pay rent. It really is dystopian when you think about it because you're depending on your body in order to come up with money. And this isn't money for you to splurge or for your enjoyment. This is to pay bills to make ends meet. They call it a donation, but a lot of people wouldn't do it if they didn't give you money. You wouldn't believe how much more plasma is donated compared to blood. Let's look at the numbers in 2024. 60 million liters of plasma was collected. You know how crazy that is? Compared to not even 7 million liters of blood. That's 8 to 9 times more greater in liquid when we're talking about the difference. Granted, when it comes to blood, you could only do it every 56 days. So that's about roughly 6.5 times a year. But with plasma, you could cash in 2 times a week. That's 104 payments a year. You know how crazy that is when you really think about it? Because there's people frequently going in order to get that money. Nobody on earth could tell me that if you decide to take out the plasma from your blood 100 times in a year, that's not gonna affect your health in the long run. And there's people doing it frequently, once again, to pay bills in order to get by.
People donating blood plasma. That's right, blood plasma. Now, I don't know necessarily what all of that entails, but I come to find out that it's really a big thing for people who's looking to make some extra money or even supplement your income, man, if you do it enough, But in this video, we're going to talk about what the process looks like of donating blood plasma, some of the risk, some of the reactions, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it a deeper conspiracy, when dealing with these blood plasma companies, because I am just finding this out now. I've donated blood a lot, but I never did the plasma side of it, because that just didn't interest me. But when I saw that people were actually doing it on a regular basis, I thought that this is something I want to share on my channel, man, to really, get some perspective on this, Now, listen, do your research, when listening to this, do your research, man, and know the risk that you are taking. Listen, I want you to look at this video from front to back, to get the full perspective of what we're talking about, blood plasma as a side hustle, man. Let's get into it.
I've been spitting mad for a couple of days since I read this article in the Times about middle-class suburbanites who sell their blood plasma to get by. We are screwed. If you are literally selling your bodily fluids to get by, this practice isn't legal in most countries. The government had to cap this practice of selling your plasma for only twice a week because they're still not completely sure what effects it might have on people. I am not judging anybody for selling their plasma. Whatever you've got to do, you're living in a city, you used to drive an Uber, and now there's a Waymo, so I guess now you're selling your plasma twice a week for $140. But that is what you need to do. What I am upset about is people that are clearly struggling. They talked to one man, he makes $50,000 a year. First of all, $50,000 according to Pew is not middle class. 56 is the bottom of being lower middle class, all right? This desperate need that we have as Americans to distance ourselves from the reality of being squeezed into constraint, financial difficulty, and essentially being on the brink of not getting by, of poverty. They at one point they say, it was these people aren't facing foreclosure. And I'm like, okay, again, if they're facing foreclosure, I don't care if they told you that they were rich as Rudolph. They are not actually middle-class people. These are...
Donating plasma has to be a government psyop. They have tricked us, especially people in the black community, into donating plasma. Do you know what plasma is? Plasma is neutrophils and lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are a product of the lymph system, lymph nodes, and the lymphatic system, which is your immune system. So every time you donate plasma, you're giving up thousands of white blood cells, which are your immune cells that help keep you healthy and help prevent disease in the body. And these companies know this. So what they do is they take a pint of your blood, they put it in that machine, and it takes all of the plasma, all of those lymphocytes, all of those immune cells, and puts your empty blood back into your body, into your veins. Think about the damage that that's doing to your body, right? Think about the damage that that's doing to your intracellular processes, your extracellular processes. Think about what this is doing to your mitochondria. This is just a note because I know most people don't know. So I get it. If you're in a tight spot financially wise, you have to do it. You gotta do what you gotta do, but at least you know what's going on and what's happening. Because donating your plasma isn't like donating your blood. You're donating blood, fine. You're taking a pint away, but that pint of blood can get replenished.
Yesterday, I see a TikTok of a girl saying that one of her favorite side hustles is donating her plasma. I live for a side hustle. I don't have a fear needle, so I ChatGPT'd the fuck out of this whole process because I've never even heard about this, and the place near me was offering a $550 payout, and then the more you go per month, like, the more that you get, but I thought this was just going to be a one-and-done thing, which it will be. So I get an appointment this morning, 9 a.m., that fast. I'm, like, excited because, again, don't have a fear of this, don't care. I'm like, this is so easy. So I get there, they have to do a whole physical since I'm a new patient, a screening, a questionnaire. It's all, like, basic, easy shit. It probably took, like, an hour and a half, though. And then when I was cleared to go back into the plasma room, which I'm going to try and find a photo online of this room, you're surrounded by other people also donating their plasma. You're in this, like, cozy chair, and then you get assigned a nurse that will, like, walk you through the process and, like, do the IV for you. IV, I think that's what it's called. And she tries this arm to get a vein. She can't, so we use this arm. It hurt like a motherfucker. Like, so bad. I don't think it was supposed to hurt that bad. But then we start the thing. There's a blood pressure thing here with, like, the pump or whatever. And then when it's tight, you need to do this with your fist the whole time. And then when it's loose, so you can relax. But I feel like I was doing this the whole, like, 40 minutes, I swear. Well, anyways, it was working. It was flowing. I had 2% left of blood or plasma to give, okay? Because you can see it on the little screen next to you. All I remember is looking around for my nurse. She was, like, in the other room or something, and I made eye contact with her, and all I remember, I think it was out loud, or maybe I whispered, I remember saying, like, I'm not okay. And then I woke up. I was unconscious for 20 seconds. I woke up to doctors and nurses all around me. I am dripping in sweat in every place that I didn't even know could sweat. Ice packs all around me, and they're asking me if I know my name, if I know where I am. Also, keep in mind, this plasma room is full of people. Full of people. Everyone's watching this happen. There's probably like 15 eyes on me total, especially the people giving their plasma. Like, I'd be having an anxiety attack, and I did start having an anxiety attack. I didn't even know what to say, but to just start sobbing. And I lifted my arm for some goddamn reason, and now I have a hematoma. That's why this was wrapped around me, and they said that my arm's gonna bruise. Because I don't know. Finally can answer these questions normally, even though I'm still so confused, and I immediately ask for a vomit bag. And thank God I didn't vomit, but I was, like, trying, and the person across from me saw this happen, and they must have had, what's when you're scared of throw up? What is that called? There's a name. He starts throwing up in a bag and also losing it. Like, acting confused. I don't think he actually fainted, but he was throwing up so much. And then all the medical attention went over to him, obviously. And then I'm still just like, what the fuck? I'm still crying. Everyone's, like, staring at me. I was so uncomfortable. If you have fainted before, you know how unsteady you feel. Like, I didn't even care about the money at this point. I didn't even care if I didn't care. I just wanted to leave and get the fuck out of there, but I was not okay to drive, so they made me stay. I want to stay, like, an extra 50 minutes and drink electrolytes that they gave me, eat a snack. They had to do my blood pressure so many times to, like, make sure it was normal. And then I had to wait in a waiting room for a while, talk with the doctor. It was a whole thing. And at this point, I don't even think I'm getting the money. I didn't even really care about it at this point. I'm just like, fuck this, I'm never coming back.
I'm seeing a video about how the man took plasma from his son, and then he took plasma from himself, and he gave it to his dad, who was in his 70s. And his dad remained 25 years younger with his health benefits for 6 months while taking that plasma. And then he got plasma from his son. So if adding plasma, young plasma to the body can make you younger or make the body feel if it is younger, when you donate plasma twice a month, what are you doing? You were aging and killing the body, bro. Donating plasma needs to be, I shouldn't say unlawful, because we all have free will to do what we want to do, but you are literally taking away your life force liquid when you donate plasma. And I really think that dialysis is connected to this as well, but hey, this is just skeptic.
Okay, here is my take on donating plasma as a side hustle to help us pay off our credit card debt. So here in Texas, in where we are, you can donate plasma and earn up to $800 a month with the first 8 donations. And then after that, it goes down a little, but it's still pretty good money. So my husband and I were like, okay, if we both do it, that's $1,600 a month that we can put towards credit card debt and just chip away at it and get it paid off like really quick. So we were like, sign us up, let's do it. So we signed up for our first appointment, which is your appointment. It's a physical plus your donation. So it takes about 3 hours. And with the donation, it actually took about 4 hours. So you do the physical, you do they do your iron, and they ask you a whole bunch of questions. You have to see the nurse. You have to explain anything and everything about your medical history and the prescriptions you're on and stuff like that. Regardless, it's a process, but I made it through that process. So I went over to the donation chair. This is about 3.5 hours in, and they hooked me up. I didn't feel anything. It was not a problem. It's going good. I look up and I see, and I'm probably saying this not right, but it says I needed 800 ml, and I was at 600. So I was booking it. I was doing good. And then all of a sudden I get to 700 ml, and let me tell you, I got really sweaty, but cold. My face, I think, turned white. I started to call the little nurse over, but it was lights out for me. I was done. So that donation ended. They put ice packs on my chest and behind my neck, and after that I was fine. They elevated my feet, my blood pressure went back up, and all was good. But they made me sit there for 30 minutes eating goldfish and beef sticks and drinking electrolytes until they thought I was good to go. And then I was able to go home. So I was like, I didn't eat enough. We're going to give it another shot. So I give it another shot, and about 4 days later, I'm back. And I'm having to go through this small little physical, not a big one, but the line was really long. So I get there at 9 o'clock, and I didn't actually get back to donate plasma until 11:30, which is a long time. I ate breakfast at 8:30, so I hadn't eaten. So they hooked me up. The girl was not as good. It hurt. I'm not gonna lie, that one definitely hurt. They had to adjust it a couple times, but hooked me up, and I have a habit of watching that to see how much I've given, and I got to about 600 ml, and then I could feel it coming on again. I started getting lightheaded. I started sweating. I was getting hot but cold, and I was like, this is going to happen again. They're going to get pissed off at me. They're going to start being like, this girl's done. So they give me an ice pack, put it on my chest, put it behind my neck. It was fine, elevated my feet. I only passed out for a tiny little bit, just a little bit. And they made me sit there for 30 minutes after eating beef sticks, at goldfish, and drinking electrolytes until they said my pulse was good enough to where I could go home. So that...
Now look, I know I'm not tripping. Can somebody tell me what's wrong with this? I have never did business with these people, but they telling me donate plasma, get up to $800. Who the fuck do y'all think I am? I'm not going for that shit. Man, just look at the way they try to draw people in. They got a dude right here, happy as hell, big ass turkey in his hand right before the holidays. I don't even eat that shit. Now look at this. They tell us that as of November 2024, the United States is home to 1,234 active plasma collection centers. So we know if that was 2024, it's even more by now. And they tell us that by 2027, it could be 1,688 centers operating in the U.S. That's 400 new ones. And look, they tell us the U.S. has more plasma collection centers than any other countries, both in absolute terms and per capita. And look, before anybody said, I know it's stories out there. People got stories about how they got these life-saving transfusions and they couldn't have survived without it. But then let's think about the flip side. Of course, the company got to do some good in order to keep the trust of the people. And think about all of the people who do got to get on these wait lists. But we got more plasma centers than any other country. And it's not like we got the biggest population out of any other countries. So where is it all going? Why is it people on wait lists till this day? If we got all of these plasma centers around, on top of the fact they love throwing them in the hood, that don't seem odd to nobody.
I had a day today. I decided that I was going to give my second donation of plasma today, because they said if you don't donate for the second time, your first time doesn't count, so they can't use it. I don't know why, but that's what the rule is. So I decided I was going to donate today. And yesterday, the AC in the car went out. So it was hot, and it was in the 90s. It probably touched 100 today. But 12:15, I decided, hey, this is my time to sizzle. Let's get this done. So went up there. I did my questionnaire online this time, because once you register, you get an ID number. You can do their questionnaire in the app. They give you a QR code to scan once you get there, and you go straight to the check-in where they do your blood work and your weight and your blood pressure and all that sort of stuff. While she was doing that, the lady said, I'm gonna put her in a glass room in a minute. I was like, what? Excuse me? What? So I go in there, and the RN wants to ask me, when was the last time I used my albuterol inhaler? And I was like, well, I don't know. She goes, has it been more than a week? Yes. Okay, you're fine to give. Is this gonna happen every time? Anyway, I go back. The lady's hooking me up to the machine, and I asked her, I say, so last time I only gave half a container. Is that because it was a first-time donation? No. She said, it's based off of your BMI. So they weigh you every time you come in, and that determines how much you can give. So, gave my plasma. It was a little hard because she said my vein rolled, and she was looking for it. So, got back into the hot car, sizzled a little bit. I think I was the barbecue. The phone, I hooked the phone up. It said, it's too hot. You gotta wait till it cools down. So I couldn't use my GPS to get home.
All right, so look, I used to donate plasma. There was a time when I was broke and I was desperate for cash, and donating plasma was an option. I was out here just trying to survive, and plasma centers offered quick cash. So yeah, I would go and I would sit in these chairs, and I'd make my little $50, and they would give me a little juice box, yada yada, get my money, and I'm about there. I go on about my day. And in my mind, I'm just doing what I gotta do. You know what I mean? But after a while, I really started to feel weird about it. I really started to feel uncomfortable about it. I felt off, not just physically, but spiritually. I felt like I had gave these people more than my plasma. You know what I'm saying? In a weird way, I feel like I had given them a piece of my essence. So eventually, I stopped going. And even though something in my spirit was like, I need the money. Even though I was down bad, I hurting for cash. I just stopped going. It wasn't worth it. Now, fast forward a few years later, when I started learning about melanin extraction, how corporations, tech companies, even the military are using melanin, and that there is a race to harvest melanin because of its unique properties. I learned how melanin is not just about skin color. Melanin is an electromagnetic semiconductor. This is more than just color we're talking about here. It absorbs energy, it stores information, it interacts with lights and frequencies, and natural biological melanin does this in a way that synthetic melanin cannot duplicate. This is why they need the real deal. This is why they need the natural organic melanin from living beings. And then it hit me. At some point, I started to connect the dots, that there is indeed a connection between these plasma centers and the melanin harvesting economy. And then when you think about the fact that most of these plasma centers are in Black and brown communities, most of these plasma centers are in lower income communities filled with melanated people. And not only that, but they get people $50, maybe even $100 for the plasma, but then they turn around and sell it to these companies for thousands and thousands of dollars. So then once I started realizing that there was a connection, then I realized that this is not just about donating plasma. This is not just about making some extra cash. This is about melanin extraction. Plasma centers are targeted extraction sites. They are harvesting plasma from melanated communities for the low. Pay attention, they are not going to Beverly Hills to collect this plasma. They are not going to the wealthy white neighborhoods to collect this plasma. They are coming to the hood because they know what is inside of us is worth more than anything they can find out there. Although they may not admit it publicly, they need melanin, and they need a lot of it. So you see, they then turned poverty into a weapon. They created a system where out of desperation, we willingly give up our essence for the low. See, I think people get confused as I don't think people understand that you can get some of the components of melanin from the plasma. Like you can't pull pure melanin out of the bloodstream, but you can extract the ingredients out of the plasma to make the melanin. Like building blocks to the melanin is in the plasma. So they take the plasma and they send it to these fancy labs, and with their advanced technologies, they can extract, they can salvage the building blocks of melanin, and they can use that and integrate it with their technologies or use it for whatever they're trying to do. Plasma is rich in amino acids like tyrosine and L-dopa. So yes, they're essentially taking this plasma that they extract from us, jar, little vial they have, and they basically try to salvage as much melanin from it as they can. So
I donate plasma 2 times a week, every week, and I just kind of want to tell you guys about what that is, why I do it, and if you guys want to learn about it, come along. So what is plasma? Plasma is the liquid part of your blood. It makes up about 55% of it, and it carries some very vital things like proteins and antibodies and stuff like that. Why is plasma donation important? Well, it can't be manufactured. It just can't. So it has to come from us, and that's what makes it important. Let's get into some of the benefits. So number 1 is I get to help other people live. That's crazy in itself, and on top of that, I get paid to do it. You're telling me I get paid to help save people? Sign me up. I got to shower, so in case I don't see you guys, good afternoon.
Do not donate plasma unless you're perfectly healthy. Why am I saying this? Well, I just got into it with a woman on this app who came here to, I don't know what her goals were, but she was so upset that she was refused to be able to donate at the time of her attempt. And all she needed to do was get a piece of paper signed by her doctor, and then she'd be able to. But then she goes on to say how my doctors don't fucking know what's wrong with me. So how do you believe that you are safe enough to put your plasma into vulnerable bodies, into medications like IVIG that go into vulnerable bodies? And not for nothing, this keeps on having to get recalled. Probably because people get by the screening process, because the purification process for the plasma is extremely minimal. Healthcare is unhealthy. Education determines literacy. Health literacy is wildly low. If you have some sort of, just because your doctors can't diagnose your illness does not mean you are healthy. That's it. If your doctor's not comfortable signing off on you being a plasma donor, you are not a safe person to donate plasma.
I just got back from trying to donate plasma, and I got turned away because my heart rate was too high. I'm not nervous about needles or giving blood or anything like that. I'm a nurse. I have tattoos. I have no problems. I've never passed out or anything or whatever. But they took my blood pressure, which was good. 120s over 70s. And then they took my heart rate off of the blood pressure reading on a monitor. So nobody counted it. They took it for the 10 seconds that they were measuring my blood pressure. And it was 103. So they're our, the highest we can accept is 100. So we're going to go have you sit over in this corner over here for 5 minutes, and then we'll call you back and we'll retest it. Well, I pulled up my heart rate on my Apple Watch that whole time, and it was up and down, up and down. When I would think about it, it would go up, and when I was just chilling, it would go down to in the 90s. So when they called me back over and they took it again, they took my blood pressure again, and my blood pressure was still fine, but my heart rate was 120. And they were like, wow. And I'm like, I'm nervous that it's going to be too high. So then I get nervous and my heart rate goes up. And look, now it's, 90, 93. And they're like, yeah, we still can't do it. And I'm like, really? Even though my Apple Watch does something else, can't you just measure it right now with your fingers and a clock? Nope, they wouldn't let me. So they sent me home. They're like, oh, you can try again tomorrow. If I go back tomorrow, the same thing's going to happen. I'm going to get all amped up thinking that my heart rate's going to be high, and then it's going to get higher and higher and higher. And I don't know why my heart rate is high. I work out 5 days a week. I am hydrated. I eat pretty healthy. Everything else was totally fine. My heart rate was too high. I bet if they would have just left a pulse ox on me and like watched it, it would have been in the 80s. And the other part is like they test it right after you get up and walk over to where you're sitting. So anyway, does anyone have any suggestions on how to slow my heart rate down even when I'm nervous about it? I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Said about the video I made about plasma centers, but it's 3 things that I want to point out about that. The reason why I made that video is because of the health implications of it as well. But number one, they're only in poverty-stricken areas, like this comment is saying. When I was growing up, all I see them is in poor areas. I never see them in the affluent areas around in my city, never. Number 2, they sell that plasma to hospitals for 10, 20, 30 times the amount of money that they give you, right? So that means it's more valuable than they're telling you it is. And then number 3, which is the most important one, it removes white blood cells from your body. And someone in the comments mentioned that your body replenishes plasma. Yes, it does. But the same way as, you know, your body gets depleted from certain nutrients, it takes time and effort and more food and more nutrients to replenish the body for that plasma to get replenished. But most people are not intaking the correct foods, the correct ingredients. Most people are on the SAD diet. Most people are eating terrible foods 24/7, 365. And on top of that, they're donating plasma. So they are the most susceptible. Poor people are the most susceptible to insufficiencies and deficiencies, and they are the main ones that's donating plasma.
I'm a first-time plasma donor. How much can I make in my first 10 donations?
It would be around $800, so about $770.
So why should somebody donate their plasma?
It helps others with like immune deficiencies. If they are a burn victim, put it in medications.
What can somebody do to have like a super easy donation?
Drink plenty of fluids. Definitely hydration is a big part of this.
So I just went and donated plasma for the first time ever. I've never donated blood. I've gotten my blood drawn a few times. Every single time I pass out. It's not a fear of needles. Like I'm tatted up. Like I'm cool with needles. However, the ones that they use when they give you IV and shots are different. You know, I'm going in free hunted. I can't turn that down. That's easy bread. Go in doing paperwork, all calm shit, vitals, height and weight, stuff like that. Easy calm. Fast forward about an hour and a half. It's time to actually start the process. Now, keep in mind, anytime I've ever gotten blood work or had to get blood drawn, I passed the fuck out. So I'm pretty nervous, you know, because if you pass out, they stop the process, you don't get paid. And I'm trying to get my money. I'm doing my best not to look. She's pricking this arm, so I'm looking that way, trying not to tweak out. When I tell you that that needle was the size of a garden hose, I'm not lying, dude. And also, crucial information for this, you're supposed to be very hydrated and eat a good balanced meal for the past few meals. I didn't do none of that. The day before, I had an energy drink and a Diet Coke. That day of, I drank 1 big bottle of water and a Monster. I had toast for breakfast at 10 a.m. I'm getting this shit done at like 6:30 p.m., dude. So prick hurts. I'm like, fuck. But that's the worst of it, right? That's gotta be the worst of it. Fast forward 5 minutes later, sweats, dizziness, my ears are ringing, my vision's going out. I'm like, oh my God. And I was looking online, it says that this shit can take up to an hour. I'm thinking, dude, this is the first 5 minutes and I'm struggling. I'm about to give up already. I gotta go for another hour. But I'm like, no, I can persevere. That 100 is gonna be nice. You feel me? I gotta thug this shit out. Mouth dry, hungry as fuck out of nowhere. I'm sweating bullets. Look at the video my friend took. Dude, I was tweaking. But for the last 5 minutes of it, it was cool. I was getting all my blood back to my body. It felt so good. I got cold as fuck, though. I don't know why. Someone that knows about that shit, let me know. But if you're thinking about doing that shit, just make sure you fucking drink water and eat. Like, I'm gonna go back.
No joke. I just like really donated plasma, and I don't know why, but is it just me? Like, I know there's some side effects, but like I can't drive because like my arm is like throbbing, right? But my kneecaps hurt for some reason. Like, they feel swollen. Like, my kneecaps hurt. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Donating plasma is such an underrated dieting hack, bro. Every time you donate, you burn about 400 to 600 calories. What? Not only can you eat more food for that day, but it's also free bread too. Like, bro, like, I'm putting y'all on.
Thank you so much for joining in with me, man. This is Working Class Rich. My name is Starsky Inspires. Hey, listen, do your own research when you're thinking about this. And if you are doing this, ask yourself, are you experiencing some negative side effects to this? You know, I mean, is this a long-term play, short-term play? You know, I want you to be thinking the whole time you're doing something, man, not just, you know, finding something and say, I can handle it. That's not the point, man. We want to look at all the repercussions, man. But hey, listen, thank you so much for joining me in this video, man. Listen, if you like content and stuff like this, hey, consider joining my channel, like, subscribe, man. Hey, help me get my content out there, you know, and until next time, hope to see you again.